Hello, everybody, and welcome to Problem Solving. Problem solving. That's it. Just problem solving for any situation. This is what I have so far, and this is based off of a computer scientist's mindset or an approach that one would normally find in the computer science field or the technology field. So, or more engineering or more of a kind of scientific approach to problem solving. Now, with problem solving, I'm intentionally being vague and being general because this is, well, as you'll see here, we have we have a few slides. First one, and so first off, this is a Jamboard. If you're not familiar, this is a Google tool called the Jamboard. It's great for making basically like a slideshow that you can kind of control. You can go back and forth. We can go and see all of these. Anyways, so if you're not familiar, that's what this is. And this is let's see, so just problem solving in general. And again, this is a computer scientific mindset. Like, I used to solve problems in different ways before I learned how to solve problems working with technology, I guess is the best way to put it. Because when you're working with technology, you have a lot more different types of problems to solve, even though it's dealing with a lot of the same stuff we do in day-to-day life. But now you're introducing like hundreds of thousands or millions or trillions of situations or things that you need to fix this for. So that's why scalability is important. So scalability, does this scale for other situations? Oh, sorry, I'm clicking move around. I need to figure out how to highlight the cursor, but anyway, so I guess I'll just highlight this in lieu of that. So scalability, does this scale for other situations or larger systems? So if you're going to solve a problem, can it solve more than one problem? Like, think of a cure to a disease, or fixing a traffic stop so there's less traffic accidents or no traffic accidents, or any problems in life that you could have. Does it scale? Like, if you fix this traffic pattern, is it useful for someone else? And is it really useful? So that's the other thing. And that's kind of the harsh reality, because as we problem solve in the world today, we have basically marketing and then actual problem solving. So either you're selling a solution to a problem, or, in I say this a lot, in a nutshell, human life could be reduced down to solving problems. Now, and then you're trying to solve the problem of, do I have food and shelter? So then I go sell some knickknacks on the corner or whatever. And that's changed throughout time. We went from, yeah, literally selling things on the corner back in like the Roman. You think about, Hercules, and you're selling things. We're getting way off topic here, but that's fine. Basically problem solving for people. So we used to solve problems of getting food and shelter by selling our wares on the corner, or working a job, or relying on someone else to give us the money or the food and shelter to survive. And so for the longest time, it was all based on survival. But now we're worried more about thriving, except for in the rare situations of where there's still war. Now, and there is. It's a problem to solve. So anyways, these are all the main things. We've got general problem solving. Let's do that first. So let's go over the different types. We've got general problem solving. We've got problem solving and communication, because, and it's my opinion, especially from what I've seen, that communication can solve a lot of other problems. Just about every other problem can be solved through proper communication. And then we have problem solving in politics. Again, with proper communication and affordable communication and understandable communication, a lot of politics would be fixed too. Then problem solving in religion. Now, I see religion as another control structure like government, for better or for worse, and whether it's real or not. See, and actually, let's go back. So even when you talk religion, it's such a hot button topic, because a lot of people believe their religion to be the true religion, the only thing that can be, and that's understandable too. I'm not saying that, I understand why someone would think this way, and it's important to still validate it, because anyone could be wrong. Nobody has verifiable proof or evidence of any religion being completely true. That's just the thing. We have a lot of hearsay, a lot of dots to connect, a lot of things that say it could be, but we don't. At the end of the day, we don't have a God or creator saying, "Yep, this is true. This is the story. Like, these other ones are wrong. They got close, but they're wrong." And the important thing to know about religion is at the end of the day, if what we say is true and there can only be one, then okay, well, if there's only one, then all of these other ones are false. So that's why it's like it could be still true, and just all religion is just the interpretation of what's going on. And really, that's how I would define it, is like that's humanity's best guess at what's going on, and then they put all their eggs in that basket. Like then, oh, yep, that makes the most sense to me. That's what I believe, and that's where a lot of friction happens. And that's why I even took extra time to talk about this one. Now, politics is another. It's one of the two taboos. In fact, let's go back to the first one. I have that the two taboos: religion and politics, and that is because special consideration needs to be taken when trying to problem solve with politics and religion. So even there, like communication. And I guess I have communication in a second, and this is dynamic. You can change these around and do whatever you want with these and organize them. And I encourage anyone else to make their own. This is publicly shared, by the way. So this is anyone with this link, and then we copy the link, which is this link up here. So here we'll do a control paste. And there you go. So identical. Now viewer equals F1 and then done. Maybe that changes. I don't know. So now I have two tabs looking into this thing. Anyways, basically what my point was, well, okay, no. Let's go to this one because that's the shorter URL. Or you can just get it, anyways, now it's even longer because it keeps adding things to the end. But my point being is you can look in the description, get a link to this, so you can come and look at this. You can scroll through here. These are just my ideas. And the person, housing, and immigration. See, it's not even done. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I was going to make this like a quick 5-minute video, but let's do this. Let's make this a 30-minute video, and then I can make or however long it gets, but 30 minutes or less, and then we can remix this into shorts, and you can take any one of these sections and then focus on that, drill in that, and then if you're interested in that, then you can see the whole movie. It's really how I should be doing all these things, and I've just figured that out 7 minutes in. But anyways, the point is Jamboards are awesome. Problem solving, this is just a great way to go about doing this sort of thing. So let's see, problem solving in general. So those are the main topics. We've got in general, communication, politics, religion, person, housing, and immigration. So, and really, because immigration is a problem only because all of these other problems that we're trying to solve are proving too difficult to be solved at that time. So then immigration is necessary. So either you aren't getting your food needs met, your shelter, your compassion, you're not finding happiness. And that's why in America we split it down to the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Where the very basic and easiest ways to define three things that every person, every American should have. They're the unalienable rights. And then that's why part of why we're so gung-ho about, quote unquote, spreading democracy to the rest of the world, is because we feel that everybody should have these rights. You should be able to live, you should be able to live free, and you should be able to pursue your happiness. And then there's a caveat, without infringing on other people. So that's we have freedom of speech until it starts infringing on other people. So, and even that, there's a big gray area because you can't just say anything you want and not offend somebody. And even then, I don't know. And then we have entire businesses based on the idea, any major comedian, the more edgy they are, the more funny they are, or any of these factors. We've had entire industries based on freedom of speech and saying things that are taboo and, outrageous and, things that make us chuckle, things that make us think, These are entire businesses and industries. Anyways, as we're sitting on immigration. So immigration, this is a very big problem that we need to fix. I would say this is probably the more urgent problem, is just we need to find at least a temporary solution to just put into place, an emergency, temporary thing, and then go from there. Because as it is, well, okay, and actually, that sounds wrong too. So I've seen mixed things from the border. I've seen images of it being flooded. I've seen, whatever your personal opinion or experience is with that, or what you believe, or what you've been told. The fact is we have a lot of people trying to move to America and become Americans. Now, here's the other fact: we have a lot of people. In fact, all right, let's do this on live TV. So problem solving, immigration. This is how easy it is to make these Jamboards. Whoops, I clicked the wrong thing. So I click here. Let's see, super easy. Even if you mess up, there you go. Boom, order, send it back, and now it's back there. So then you can move this around, you can shrink it, you can grow it. Anyways, yeah, I just did an hour-long video on how awesome Google tools are, but I get a little distracted. So problem solving with immigration, and again, I'm going to keep this like 30 minutes or less, but problem solving with immigration. So something to consider, many, at least for, so let me specific, like US immigration. Let's actually do that, just because I'm just solving it for here, but a lot of these ideas can be transferred. So that's why I like it like being generic, but for US immigration, there are many illegal immigrants living and working in the US. And right there, I say that because one of the biggest arguments are, oh, they're freeloading. Like, okay, so you can't freeload. You have to still pay for something. So, and I say that because, quote unquote, freeloading. So that is one of the concerns of generally the right side's views of, okay, so that's why freeloading, and whatever your opinion of this is something to focus on, whether it's true or false or whatever. We need to record it here so it's an argument. So freeloading, there are many illegal immigrants. So even right here, we're almost like having a debate with ourselves, and that's why we have like public debates and stuff. That's what we've used in the past. Now we should be able to just look at a problem and be like, okay, here are the pros, here are the cons, or here's what I know, and here's what I think, and here's what I've heard, and here's what I've, you kind of take into account all these things. So here's what I'm hearing. I've heard that they're freeloading, but I've also heard that they're working, and now we can directly see that with Florida banning immigrant work. Felony now. So now it's a felony to, I don't know the exact law, but I just heard something about felony, and now they're banning, and now there's like an exodus of illegal immigrants that were working, and now there's a total lack of work, or there's a large, not a total, sorry, there's a large dip in the workforce in Florida, and now they're proposing making inmates fill that gap. Now, again, we're doing problem solving, so like, let's do that. So Florida banning immigrant work felony, and then speaking of felonies, their proposed solution is make inmates work, fill the gap, question mark. That's one of the things, like, okay, so right there, that's a whole nother set of problems. Like, in fact, let's actually go ahead and do that. So let's finish this, finish our thought there, get that recorded, and then let's make another card. Problem solving. And I think all of them is like problem solving U.S. immigration, problem solving in housing, problem solving for the person, problem solving incarceration / corrections. So, and this we're already doing. So problem solving, incarceration / corrections, because it is a whole subgroup of how. So now we've got solutions to problems, but now we need solutions to the solutions. Like, so with solutions to behavioral problems, we've introduced more problems. And that's a fact. Like, you cannot tell me. And there is, in fact, let's see, sorry, that's one of the biggest things. It's like, and understandably so, because this is a bold thing to say, but when you say it this way, it makes more sense, not like, oh, the whole system's bad, we need to scrap it. And that's what it sounds like when people are like, oh, we need to fix prison, we need to stop putting people in prison. Okay, but if we're going to do that, we need to stop people from doing the things that would put them in prison. And so, and then people think that the problem is fixed and done, put to bed, we don't need to worry about it, when it's a very big problem. Like, because, and here's why. So our current Department of Corrections, let's actually say, so current DOC, Department of Corrections, DOC, That's a topic. So the current one, pros and cons. You can even just have that as like it's a current, and this is ever changing too. So when I was a kid, growing up in a small mountain town that basically revolved around the prison up there, like that was, and that's part of why I have a little more insight into the Department of Corrections, is because I've had family that works there, and then I've known people on the other side of the bars, people that have been in corrections. So, and this is just from growing up in Buena Vista. We did tours. We didn't do a lot of like outreach, so I guess we didn't get to know a lot of the inmates there, and that probably would have been more beneficial. Like, but of course, and again, we're kids. Like, maybe that would have been more beneficial for the teenagers to like, or but then by the time that they get to an age where that would actually be useful, like, I don't know, it would be more effective. Prison would be more effective if more people saw what it was like to be in prison, but at the same time, we need to know that. So our current one, well, hold on. So that's a thought. Then also the experiment of control. And I would need to look this up to know the exact one, but it's the experiment of control where the jailers ended up abusing power, exhibiting negative behavioral traits. So much to say as there was a study done, and I don't, the name escapes me right now, but that's a thing for Google search. There was an experiment done where people locked other people up. There were the inmates and the guards, and that was the two divisions. And what the experiment found was over time, the people that were in charge started getting really mean and nasty, and like, and mind you, these were all friends that started out or just classmates or just like, and they actually had to shut the program down because it started to get too inhumane. Like it started to get scary. Like they were, and this is just natural human behavior studied on a microscopic or a micro level. So we're really focusing in on human behavior of what happens when you have guards and things. So, and I say that up because like we also have law enforcement. So let's do that. So let's problem solving law enforcement. So now we need to realize like, okay, law enforcement. So there's a couple of entities at play here. So we have, and this is your liberty, mind you. So these are unalienable rights that every American citizen needs to be concerned about. Your Department of Corrections and your law enforcement, because if you do something wrong that we deem wrong enough to do these things, then you're gonna experience one or both of these things. So now law enforcement, okay, so everything from ranges from traffic stops to raids. Like, just to kind of put it in perspective, like, this is, you're going to interact with law enforcement. Really, almost everybody interacts with law enforcement. Almost everybody gets pulled over at least once in their life. I've been pulled over. Like, it's just, usually in fact, it's safe. Like, or actually, let's just do traffic stops. I mean, just so we kind of clarify that, traffic stops, usually just a reminder or letting you know about something. Like that's all it is. I mean, they're pulling you over because they want to talk to you about something. Either you have a light out, that's the most common thing, or maybe you're swerving and they suspect that you've been drinking or smoking now that marijuana is legal in certain places. Like this is what's going through a law enforcement officer's mind, or a cop, or a pig 50, all of the negative things we call them, which is wrong. I mean, I chuckle at that because I grew up with gangster rap where it was, and that's because people solved problems in their ways. It wasn't the best way, but the best that they had at the time, maybe. I mean, you got to consider all of these things, like the tools they have to solve problems, like the patience they have, I mean, the support they have, or the confidence, all of these things. So, anyways, back to law enforcement here. Yeah, we're going on like almost 20 minutes, so we're going to kind of, this will be the 30-minute introduction of these things, but it's kind of easy to focus on this because this is very important. So here in America, you're probably going to get pulled over for something in your lifetime if you grow up and live here. Um, can't remember what I've been pulled over for. One was a click it or ticket campaign. by the Dare Party car, which was hilarious because I was just talking to my mom and she said, "Why aren't you wearing your seatbelt?" Because it's a small town, we passed by each other. And I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry." So I actually wasn't wearing it that day, and my mom told me, "Hey," and so then I got pulled over, and the cop saw my ticket and was like, "All right, well, you're going five over, which is fine. Most courts," and even proceeded to tell me this stuff, is like, "You were still speeding 5 miles over," and most courts throw it out. But I'm more concerned about the click it or ticket campaign. So he had an agenda of, yeah, let's put that up there, click it or ticket campaign. Campaign. There we go. So that was back when, there was a campaign, like they wanted to make our driving safer because there were so many fatalities, like deaths. In fact, let's put that there, like inspired by traffic fatalities. See, that's really testing my spelling because I think there's spell check in this, but I don't know. But anyways, that's the point of it. So we have click it or ticket campaign, which introduces friction. So introduces friction, but good intentions of saving lives. So it's important to know both sides of this. So like the cause, the effect, the purpose, all of these things. We used to call this the five W's: the who, what, where, and why. Yeah. So, and a lot of these things introduce friction. So you've got problems or solutions that in themselves cause more problems or cause different problems. And so then you're trying to, like, if you're the manager of this system, or a manager of a business, or a manager, or if you're a politician, or if you're anyone trying to control, or a manager in religion too, because that's what religion is you're trying to control human behavior to the benefit of all humans. Like that's the basis of everything. Like we're problem solving over here. Like that's all it is. Like we're trying to live the best life, and the way that we solve problems might be different. That's the whole city slickers versus country person. There was a what was that? Actually, let's do that. So, urban versus urban versus rural, and I struggle with that. So basically, city folk versus country folk, and that's one of the biggest things in America that's problem solving. And other countries probably have the similar things. Because all right, so problem solving, urban versus rural. So in U.S., whoops, country folk versus city folk. And you can go on all day about rednecks and then city slickers, and then my personal upbringing was redneck in small mountain town. But then also I understood enough to be like, well, now hold on, there's more to the story. And not saying that people, it's I'm never saying that people aren't capable of understanding these things and questioning these things. It's were they capable at the time, given that? So I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's important. So yeah, city slickers versus country folk. So different sets of problems. So if we know it's like different sets of problems to solve. So whereas you've got like traffic to worry about, and that's one of the big things of like Wyoming versus Colorado, because Wyoming there's really not a lot of traffic, so you don't have to worry about driving well, and that's kind of like a joke. In fact, let's put that like, Wyoming versus Colorado traffic. Anyone can tell you like Wyoming drivers have less traffic to deal with, so they drive different. And that's in a nutshell. Like Wyoming and Colorado is one. California and Colorado, like there's been oh yeah, well, let's put that too. Because we have Boulder where there's a lot of people rumored to, not rumored, sorry. The stereotype is a lot of people move from California to Boulder, and then they're Californianizing it, and that's why like Fort Collins is a little more like redneck and a little more local. But then like Boulder has a lot of locals too, so you can't like paint these generalizations. But like, let's see, how do I go about it? Yeah, let's just put that California and Colorado. We'll just leave it at that in Colorado. Colorado versus Colorado. And right there, you're making it versus, like pitting them against each other. We'll actually just leave it like that. and then Texas. So then we have a whole nother bunch of sets. And see, that's the interesting thing, like Texas versus Colorado. Because, the Great Tomato Wars, which I still don't even know if they're a real thing. I've just heard enough people talking about them in restaurants that it could be like an old wives' tale, or, in fact, let's put that, the Tomato Wars? Tomato Wars, question mark? Because I've just heard people like nod and be like, oh, yep, they used to do that. And then it's like, how do I know that they really did? It could have just been an accidental lie passed down through word of mouth. And see, that's me realizing something that I thought was true in my attempts to problem solve tomato wars. I don't know if they existed. I mean, what I know is ski resorts. Ski resorts. And that's why I personally have experience with problem solving with Texas, or just having problems with people from Texas. I mean, I'm over it now, but when I used to work at a ski resort, we would notice Texas accents and just immediately think, Texans, like, and we would just say, and we would say that, mind you, sorry, not to offend anyone, but a lot of times is because they could afford to be there. And not only could they afford to be there, they could afford to have their kids all decked out in the nicest, like, ski gear that money could buy, but then you could tell that they didn't really have the insider info to really get the good gear that was still super expensive, but, or they didn't wear it right, or we did like the sneeches with stars. In fact, let's put that up there, because that needs to be in anything. Sneeches and stars, because that's really important to, so like, oh, yeah, status thing, like, and this was just Texans, mind you. Like, we could tell if they were from Texas because of their accent, because of, let's see, it's like accent, gear. In fact, yeah, as we get closer to 30 minutes, we'll just cut this and we'll maybe do like a part two. But yeah, we've got accents, gear, skiing ability, and all of these different factors to tell Texans apart from Coloradans. And why? How could you tell they were Coloradan? Because they're living there, working there, or they're skiing every weekend, and then they get to recognize, local versus tourist. So right there, that's a big problem solving in all of America, because I know Buena Vista, my hometown, personally was like revolved around tourism. So if you worked in like the rafting industries or the skiing industries, and so then the tourists would come, they'd trash the town, they'd just treat it like they did the city. Whereas, and so we would think that they'd trash the town when really they were just living in ways that were acceptable in the city, because cities have, cities like street cleaners. Oh, we don't have that. I mean, at least we didn't at the time. Like, if there was dirt or trash or anything, it just stayed there until someone came by and picked it up. And those are just people grumbling and picking it up. Like, city workers. City workers. We didn't have a lot of that. We had inmates that would pick up trash every now and then. So we would solve problems in the ways that we could. We had a prison. We had a bunch of inmates there. So we had prison labor. Yep, let's put that up there too. So, prison labor. So in lieu of having a city full of people that would be willing to pick up our trash, we had to take advantage of our other resource of having prison inmates. And see, that's just really macabre when you start saying it that way, but that was the reality of it. Is like, if people broke the law, then they become labor, and they would be shipped off somewhere to learn a lesson. But then at the same time, they were trying to solve another problem by providing labor, and we still should be doing that, but it should be a much better trade-off. And let's go back to prison, like law enforcement, incarceration, corrections. Prison labor is good, but needs to be more rewarding. So, teaches a lesson, it's valuable, but, so, valuable, however, well, actually, wait, Control Z that. I want to type in there, so then you got to click it, double click, valuable, yet under rewarded. Is that even a word? I don't know. Under rewarded. That's the best way to say that, because it is valuable. It does teach a lesson. It helps with the corrections. But then the corrections itself, like, in fact, let's put this somewhere, like, too long. Too ridiculously long. our current things, at least in America. We'll say that because, and I'm going to put this up here too because I often say this in connection with that. We don't put kids in time out for a week. That's the easiest way to describe why it's wrong what we do with incarceration currently. Just that right there. If your kid gets in trouble, you don't put him in timeout for a week. Let's draw a line to that. Ridiculously long. And so there could be a line to there. And basically all these Jamboards they're like brainstorming. What I learned about writing a story or organizing your thoughts to write a report for school. And I learned this in third grade. And so these were tools back in, that was 1997. So yeah, the tools of the time where you take a pen and paper or a pencil and paper and you draw these bubbles. So you say, okay, here's an idea. Let's go back to select it. So here's my idea, problem solving for incarcerations. And then you would write a bunch of other things, just ideas. You'd brainstorm like, okay, there's this experiment where we know human behavior on a micro level, people in power are corruptible and they start abusing the people that are not in power. And they ended up, they started off equal students of this class, and half of them were jailers and half of them were inmates. And the ones that were inmates became submissive, and then the ones that were others became dominant because they had to solve this problem of keeping this person in jail. Well, okay, but now I need some water. And they would do these things to study real world things that happen in prison just to show how ugly it could get very quickly. And that's reality. We have evidence of this happening, but a lot of people don't know this, so it's kind of like a don't ask, don't tell. See, and that's another thing with this whole Pride Month and those problems. And the problems of, not saying that Pride is a problem, sorry. The problems that are introduced with Pride Month and celebrating Pride, and then even just the communication issues that cause most of the problems in even that realm or that card. So yeah, we can even do that. Problems with Pride, or it's not a good way. So problem solving, LGBTQ. Everything concerning that. So basically, I'm taking these hot button taboo things, and I see we're at 30 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. But yeah, so we could do anything. That's the point of brainstorming. And I originally had a brainstorming page with these videos, but I kind of strayed away from this because Jamboards are just so much easier. And then, sorry, yeah, I just didn't mean to stip. All of these are important topics, and all of these could be a half-hour segment. So yeah, that's the introduction to problem solving, and link in the description. Comment for any problems you want to solve, or comment with your own Jamboards. There you go. Comment with your own Jamboards, and then have other people weigh in, have them look at your stuff, and see what your thoughts are. I mean, because this is just viewing access. So to do that, you click the share link, and click this. I could make it to editor, and maybe I will one day. I'll make a problem-solving editor. Ooh, should I do that, actually? So I don't know how to do version control as well on this one. I can do version history. That would be interesting. Alright, because then if I do that, anybody can change it, but that person is recorded, your IP address is recorded, your email is recorded, your account could be targeted. So just know if you do anything nefarious, let's leave it as just viewers for now. You can see it, and then I'll make one that's editable. Because that's the other thing too, is these are my opinions, and I would like to see the forum of everybody else's opinions, but yeah, let's do it that way. So if you have discrepancies, or if you think that these are the wrong ways to go about solving these problems, or just have other things to add, make another Jamboard, and then copy that card. Just you can have it in another tab, and just have them side by side. Okay, problem solving U.S. immigration, and type that out. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We're well past 30 minutes, but that's problem solving in a nutshell, and how to use Jamboards in a nutshell. All right. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.